Welcome back to 2 Cents from Millennial. We are millennials who are either working or studying abroad. Do you want to find out what are the perspectives as a foreigner about different topics? Join us. We invited entrepreneurs, content creators, and professionals around the world to share their insight on the matter. I'm your host today, Jarvis, and we have another co-host, Stephanie. Stephanie is from Germany, and she's working as a sales representative for a company, right, and based in Ireland. So glad to have her today. And please share a little bit about your background and let the viewers set the scene for people who are first time here, listen to our podcast. How's it going, everything?
Hi, everyone. Hi, Jarvis. Good to be here. Thank you for the introduction. I'm from Germany, actually. Was born there and just tried to basically escape the country a few times. Lived in California, lived in Holland, and now I'm living in Ireland. And I'm actually working here in sales at the moment. I just started my sales career basically a few months ago.
Nice.
It's going well so far. Yeah, I really like it.
But why you want to escape from Germany for some reason? What's the story, context? Let us know.
Yes, I know a lot of people actually come to Germany because it is a very good country, like great infrastructure, healthcare, and all of that stuff. And there's a lot of protection for employees.
Mm-hmm. Not for you.
I don't know. Yeah, exactly. I never really felt that connection to Germany, and I always thought there are countries that are more beautiful. I mean, Germany is so cramped and crowded. There's so many people on such a small space. And
Wait,
so I prefer
that's completely different from what I understand. I thought they have land that is like a bunch of farms. Nobody can see you in the middle of the forest. Even GPS cannot track you.
no. I mean, okay, yeah, the sales reception is not good everywhere. I agree. But no, I don't think it's enough space,
Cool.
If you get lost and you walk for like if you get lost in the middle of a forest and then you walk for like an hour in just one direction, I guarantee you will reach
in the middle of the deeper side of the forest. Oh, really? Okay. I thought you were going to end up in the forest for the rest of your life.
No. That's not what happens here. And that's why I wanted to escape Germany, basically.
Nice. Speaking about Germany, we're going to start with some of the news currently happening in Germany. We started with the good news, right? So we have been living through the COVID quarantine for 2 years, almost like 2 years and a half. And now travelers are allowed to enter the border of the Germany. So the restriction is like loosened. And here are some of the regulations that you have to be vaccinated, at least EU country qualified in those vaccinations, or at least test negative, right? And also always wear the mask in the public transportation. That's still the restriction. If you are traveling from countries that doesn't have the EU approved vaccination, then that could be a little bit concerned. But overall, if you are valid for everything, you can just hop on the train, hop on the airplane and come to Germany. But definitely you are in Ireland right now, right? Does it have the same restriction there, or is like better than the current situation in Germany?
No, it's actually quite different. So during the peak of COVID, Ireland had really, really tough restrictions. You couldn't leave your house in like a 5-kilometer radius. It was really crazy. But now everything is open. It's not mandatory to wear masks anymore. So like even public transport, yeah, everything is open. You can go clubbing again.
Damn.
Can you imagine that?
I mean, not really. I mean, I'm in Munich because Munich still have to wear masks everywhere, even in restaurant. Not when you're eating, but like when you are leaving the seat, you have to wear it.
Even when you go to the restroom and those.
Yeah. You have to you have to put on your mask when you're walking around, but you can take it off when you sit down, which is nonsense, but it's regulated by the law. So, oh well.
How do you feel about it?
I don't know, to be honest. It feels kind of stupid to imply the restriction, but of course the concern is still there. But what do you think about the German style of how they do this, lock down everything and mandatory vaccination?
So I think mandatory vaccination is a tricky topic because on one hand, we need it to get rid of the virus or to kind of control it. But on the other hand, you can't force people into doing this, basically. But I mean, there are other vaccinations like for children, which are mandatory, and
Hmm.
so it's kind of difficult to say. And I just wish that more Germans would actually see how useful the vaccination is. For example, in Ireland, the vaccination rate is quite high.
Uh-huh.
I don't know the exact percentage, I don't want to just tell you crap, but it's
It's
higher
fine.
than in Germany.
Uh-huh.
And therefore, people just were like, okay, yeah, we gotta get the vaccination to just for ourselves to stay healthy and stuff. And they did that. In Germany, you have to force them to. It's a different mindset. You know what I mean?
I think I could relate because I watched the news 2 weeks ago. There are still people are going on the street to demonstrate that they don't want the vaccine. Whoever took the vaccine is sheep. They don't have a critical thinking. This is just sometimes it's good and bad, pros and cons. Like I said in the previous podcast when I have the conversation with Ivan, I would say it's two layer of the questions, right? Two layer of the topic. One is vaccination help? Scientific proof it helps. But does vaccination is like mandatory? That's a debatable question, right? So this is what Germany's situation right now. So basically, Germany is starting to open the border and start to loosen the restriction. And this is what we have, right? The Omicron variant is still causing people to get affected, but it's not severe, the symptom. So right now, 75.7% of German population only vaccinated twice. So if you are facing the Omicron, basically you are equal to not vaccinated. But still, it says that's too few to defeat the pandemic, the authority of the German government said, but also it's too much to remain the current restriction from social distancing, going to club, going to cinema, to kino. It's destroying the economy. Meanwhile, people are losing their own freedom. The entire society of the Germany is kind of divided into two parts.
Yeah.
One part is those who really concerned, they follow the requirement, but some of the people they decided not to. They don't want their kids to also get the vaccination as well. So that's kind of the problematic that those family who has kids, they go to school, they get the coronavirus, and they come back and then transmit it to their family.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And this is how they spread it. And then everyone gets sick. And the people who did not get vaccinated, they usually, or not most of them, but a lot of them end up in the hospital, right?
Yeah.
And, the hospitals are full at one point and they're full of people who are unvaccinated. So kind of crashes the health system.
The health system.
But the unvaccinated people don't get that, I think. They don't really think about that.
I remember one of the news from DW. He says they are brothers, right? The younger brother is working in the hospital. Like he just seen everybody get COVID without vaccination. But his older brother just keeps saying this is conspiracy, this is the virus from the laboratory. And it's just how ironic you can see that even though they are, family members, like it's your brother.
Mm-hmm.
And they have like completely two direction of the opinion. Right.
The same upbringing, but still different views, huh?
True. Because just like those people who are working in the hospital, they understand how difficult it is to see people just dying. Right. And
Yeah,
those people who are on the street, they say this is government's conspiracy. Well, who's right? Who's wrong? But good news, Oktoberfest is coming back to 2022. So after 2 years nonstop, after 2 years quarantine, they stop Oktoberfest. Like in 2020, I remember they just set up everything because Oktoberfest is not like you set up everything a month before. You have to set up like very early.
Yeah.
You have to prepare for everything. Tons of stuff. So they set up everything and they tear apart everything. Same as the Christmas market. The Christmas market is closed. They decided last year, 2021, they set up all the Christmas market and they suddenly say, the Delta, right? The Delta is fucking everybody else. So they just close it. Well, that's the good news, but also the concern we're still having.
So are you going to the Oktoberfest this year?
Well, we'll see. Hopefully, I still got the chance. Are you a Oktoberfest beer lover?
Yeah, Tegernseer is my favorite. It's the best.
Yeah, Tegernseer is always the best.
Went to right. Cheers.
Cheers.
I actually went to the Augustina tent a few years ago. I don't remember which year. I think it was 18 or 19.
Uh-huh.
to the Oktoberfest, and it was my first and only time so far.
Really? I
It
don't
was
want
really fun.
as a
Yeah, I
German.
don't live in Munich. I used to live in Frankfurt, so don't really do that a lot.
Wait, so you don't have a connection to Oktoberfest? You just
Not
like it's just a drinking event and that's it. You don't think that it's something special?
well, I guess it is something special, but by now it's very commercial. I mean, there are a lot of
100%.
tourists
All the
coming
people
from
here
everywhere.
complain. Like first week is Italians week. No, second week is normally the Italian week, which is like all the Italian comes in, and then some week is like all French. It's like you can see there's a pattern. The Oktoberfest, I think is at least 3 weeks, right? So local people they say if you want to go to Oktoberfest, don't go there during the daytime. Go there like when they are about to close or everything. So that's the time you can just enjoy the beer. Yeah, I mean, if you're not tourist, you don't care about all the stuff. But if you are tourist, well, you know, I try to go there during daytime.
Yeah, but people just get too drunk. I think they just go insane. Very
I had the
crazy.
same experience as well. We'll share that story later on. But the second part of the news today is we know the current situation about how problematic the energy supply, especially today. I think it's earlier this week. German economy ministers he says we have to limit our energy usage, which means no more heater, no more computer, no more charging your phones. We're gonna go back to Stone Age. I mean, I'm exaggerated, but this is kind of how problematic now, because currently we are stuck in the situation that Germany relies on so much from the pipeline from Russia. The business now in Germany, they've sort of tried to find a way to not to dependent on the Russia's supply, but they cannot find an alternative. And so now we have to expect it. The heater price is going to increase, and we won't have quick solutions until the end of this year. Let's say. Do you follow up any news like this?
Yeah. Well, not particular in Germany. I mean, I still have family and friends there, so I do get the major
Information.
themes, yeah, information things. But I mean, the gas thing, the supply from Russia, it also impacts Ireland because our gas prices have been rising by a lot. It's way more expensive. So even as a private household, you can feel it. You really, really feel it on your bill. It's crazy.
And so we also know that Putin is requiring unfriendly country to pay all the energy prices in ruble because they get the sanction. And apparently Germany is saying, no, fuck that. We're not going to rely on you. So they are going to find some alternative, even though they don't have it so far. So this is the current concern we have in Germany. They are trying to find an alternative. And this is the reaction from the industry. Oh, so if you're a podcast listener, you can tune into our YouTube channel to watch the video format. But if not, I'm going to verbally trying to let you know what's happening. The feedbacks are very different. Like this guy saying right here, if our industry run out of gas, we will have to shut down the production facilities. And its complex chemical plants cannot simply be switched off and on like a microwave. This is those people who are in the chemical industry, they rely on constantly 24/7's gas support, but now they are facing a dilemma. And as a German citizens or as a person like me studying here in Germany, we're gonna see price increase. The supermarkets already starting to increase the price for oil, price for flowers, everything. The materials, commodities has been increased at least 20% minimum. It's a chaos right now. Do you have a
They
price
basically
increase in
just
Ireland? Like
oh,
material wise, groceries?
I haven't noticed it in the groceries yet. But at the moment, I basically only shop online. My groceries as well, get them delivered.
Oh,
So
nice.
maybe I don't really see the difference
Same.
because I'm not standing in front of the shelf, seeing like the price tag and like, wait, last week was different. Don't really see that anymore.
Is there any like panic stock in there or everybody just act normal? Yeah.
Oh no, that's just German. That's very German.
What do you mean that's very German? The start of the COVID as well. They did that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. They stock toilet paper and like soups and cans. Good.
Potatoes, flowers, everything.
Mm-hmm.
They call it what?
East.
Hamster calf. The
Yes.
yeah, hamster calf. You just buy like a hamster. Prepare for
Everything
the
in your
winter.
mouth. Yeah. No, it was really crazy. I don't think it was this crazy here in Ireland, but I actually wasn't living here when COVID hit. I was still living in Germany when COVID started.
But you also be
Also,
part of the hamster calf. You were part of it.
I actually was a victim of it because I struggled to get toilet paper
Nice.
just a bit. It was so terrible. Everything was sold out.
Yeah, and limited. Only one person could buy one roll, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One per household.
Yeah.
Like, really, guys?
But I mean, right now we're seeing Germany government has initiative. They are aiming to become fully green energy until 2035. So right now, the deal they are seeking for is to buy gas from UAE, which is Qatar, Arabic country, right? So this is what we have right here. It's the current solution for buying gases from Qatar is they rely on hybrid storage to store the gas and then transfer to the Germany. It still has some technical problems. And in both countries, not only just Germany, I want to buy, give you the money, give me the gas. It's not as easy as that. But somehow they have to find a way to make sure there's green hydrogen to deliver from Qatar to Germany.
I think that's just part of globalization, you know? Countries are dependent on another because that's just what globalization is all about.
Yeah, exactly.
And we import, we export. But I mean, Russia has never really been the biggest ally of Germany. So
Never is.
being so dependent on Russia in this one regard is probably not the best idea, like from the beginning on. I think a lot of people were actually against it in Germany, but
But they built the Nord Stream, the
Mhm.
pipeline, Nord Stream 2, right? They spent like 1.3 billion, probably be the correct number. And they just say, no, shut down. Like, why you guys just spend so much money for the pipeline?
yeah, and the taxpayer has to pay it. But about Qatar, are they gonna try to move everything to Qatar now, or what's their deal?
Well, they are still trying to find a technical solution to transport all the gas or to meet up the demand, because right now there are at least more than half, which is around 55% of the energy requires from the pipeline. So imagine you had to ship tons of gas over from Qatar instead of like the pipeline you already have. But I guess this is a very difficult dilemma for the people here, for the government, and and also for me as a foreigner who might gonna work here in the future.
Yeah, but at the end, it's just very political as well. I mean, of course, you say there's also the technical issue,
Mhm.
but it also goes down to political issues, like lobbyism. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we're as a Auslander, as a foreigner, I'm not super into the politician of the Germany situation, but from a fact point of view, is this is the direction they are working on. So,
Mhm.
last news from what's new today is Frankfurt Airport strike. We have been hearing this, strike all the time, right? And so this time, I think this is from last week, not this week, but it's still relevant because they are still in the negotiation. There's no common sense from both sides. And the reason why they start the strike is because the union is negotiating for minimum wage to increase at least €1 per hour. And since the company side says, no, fuck that, and everybody has no airplane to travel or to do the business, do whatever, how bad it is as a citizen or as a foreigner, as a traveler, to stuck in this situation. But do you think this is a good thing or this is a bad thing? What's your 2 cents in general?
Well, I think strikes are just part of it. I think people should be able to say no and
Express the
demonstrate
feelings.
exactly, and demonstrate against whatever restrictions there are, and have the freedom to stand up for themselves. So I do think this is good, but of course, the Frankfurt Airport. I mean,
Yeah, it's the international
biggest
airport. It's not like local airport.
yeah, exactly. I think it's the biggest airport in Europe, so they have a huge impact, and I assume they know that. so they can actually make a big change. They do strike a lot. Like that's pretty crazy. But no, overall, I think it's just necessary. I
Of
mean,
course, as a people who are working for company, if you don't have any method to encounter the capital side, it's really hard for you to have your voice be heard. And I guess the ultimate way is trying to go through with this disruption for people to notice. And then the companies sort of have to compromise. But we'll see. We'll see how this is gonna develop in the future. But this is
keep me
all about
updated.
wage negotiation, right? Speaking about wage negotiation, here's the thing. We just have this news. So here's a new deal. The company in European right now have to fully expose the salary, not the range of the salary, but like the salary when you are hiring some people in the future.
You mean the exact number?
Yes. So you can see, you can read this part. I know it's been a huge debate on revealing salaries. Many companies have been super reluctant to do this, thinking that people's only motivation will be the money. If you have the smallest hiring experience, you'll know that is not true. And starting in August, all job posts with the EU will have to show the salary for the role, not the range, as it sometimes happens right now. So this is going to implement it starting in August, right? About the job description, you have to fully disclose what are you actually going to pay for this job. If you're going to pay banana, you have to say you're going to pay banana and you're looking for monkey. But if you're going to pay the real money, then you have to say how much you're going to pay for that. Well, what do you think about this?
I think it's great that they actually have to reveal that information. But do you know if it's just the salary from which point you can actually still negotiate, or if it's the fixed salary, like there's no negotiation room then anymore? How do you think that's gonna go?
I don't know, to be honest. This is a huge gray area, to be honest. Most of the time, company will tend to be as vague as possible because most of the people, they probably don't stay that long for a position, or they probably don't think that much. Then company probably would take advantage of that, even though they are not intending to do so. But apparently, for most of the applicants, they would like to know some information beforehand. But if you are saying, I'm going to apply for this job, but I know that it's going to be a fixed payment, then probably I'm less motivated. But if like this fixed number is being revealed and there's going to be like some negotiation, raise or bonuses in the future, then probably yes, right? That's my two cents.
Yeah, then it's going to be way more attractive, because if you just say, okay, this is fixed, and it takes out the entire negotiation, that would be a bit messed up because it doesn't motivate you that much anymore, like you said. But I think they wouldn't do that. I think that's not even possible.
But if you are from the company point of view, it becomes a huge disadvantage to reveal your pay range, because talent is sort of just floating around in the same industry, let's say. So if you're an engineer, Google probably could hire this person with this amount of money, and let's say Google say I have to pay, let's say, €1,000 for this an hour, and Amazon see that, they'll be like, I need that person, I'm going to pay like 12,000, right? Or 1,200,
Yes.
right? And then suddenly Google just like lose advantage by revealing what they're paying for. So I don't know. It's really hard from a company's point of view to apply for the law. Meanwhile, trying to be competitive in the talent hunting. I don't know. Do you have experiences in this part? In your personal price negotiation or when you're job hunting?
Yeah, I actually do. So from my experience, the most important part is to have a competitive offer. Like if you don't have any other offer, if you just have one offer from one company and you're trying to negotiate with them, it's of course still possible, but still it's going to be much, much tougher. Because if you actually, like that Google and Amazon example, if you can say, if you have an offer from Amazon, you say, okay, but Google pays me this and that. And they're of course going to increase it, and they're going to try to get you. So they're going to give you more. And if this is already revealed, then the people can,
They just don't apply
yeah,
to the Google in the first place, right? We're just making an example because most of this happened in the SMEs, the small, medium-sized enterprises, right? If you are hiring, let's say, an internship, some internship pay for what, €800 a month. Some company, they are big enough, they pay up to 50, 100. And suddenly, like, nobody's going to apply for those companies who only pay 800. This is the problem.
yeah, that's true. But I mean, imagine if you would apply for a job where you don't know the salary, and it turns out the salary is way lower than you imagined and you thought,
Hmm.
and then you can't live off that salary. It's just not enough,
Hmm.
Then you just spend
So much
weeks
energy.
or preparation, yeah, and time and effort into the interviews. Sometimes you have like 5 interview rounds. And that's just a lot of preparation time, a lot of interview time, a lot of stress on you. And you could have
And
used that
end up
time
with
to
nothing.
actually.
Yeah.
Mhm,
Yeah.
exactly. You could have used the time for a job that actually fits you. And therefore, for like the people,
Mhm.
not from the company side, but from the people perspective, it's really, really good.
I totally agree because we all know, I don't know how they work, but the interview, they normally have like multiple processes. It's not like just one or two interview and they hit the button. It's not working in that way. But what about
I,
remote working? You know, like right now, remote working is starting to become a thing and the company is starting to have people remote working. They're going to get paid less. Have you came across this topic?
actually haven't heard that they're going to pay remote people less,
Oh,
remote
you
workers.
didn't? Okay.
No, but I actually heard about Germany that some companies are considering to go back to fully on site,
On
like to
site.
be fully
Hmm.
at the office again. Yeah. So to eliminate remote basically altogether, which is such a step back.
I know, right?
But no, I didn't hear about the difference in the salary.
I read the news. I feel like it's in the early of this 2022 or something, but I think it's in US. It's in state, not in Germany. They are saying if you insist to remote working, sure, but I'm going to pay you less, like 20% or 30%, because then you don't enjoy the, let's say, a gym or a yoga class or whatsoever in the company. That's how they make sure people will be motivated when they're working to go to the office, right? And suddenly, right now, remote working become a thing. Nobody actually appreciate that anymore. So a company will say, then why the hell I have to invest those here and to have a beanbag, chips, coffee, just figure it out by yourself. I'm gonna pay the 30% less because you're not using that.
But there are actually some laws that I think, especially in Germany, that the employer has to give the employees some sort of workspace, like
Hmm.
a table, a chair.
But I'm
So
just
they're
saying
gonna
those
pay.
extra, like a coffee machine, snack bar, right? Or beer bar. We definitely gonna need that in Germany. Like after hour, they have
Yeah,
in
I can hear you're living in Bavaria.
in Munich, they really have that, but I'm not sure whether they can drink it during working though. But every time I went to some of the company, because I used to run around in Munich, participate in a lot of meetups before COVID. So I just went there and literally though the freeze will be full of beer, and they're saying that just grab it if you really need it. If your company tells you to stop remote working and go on site, to just like keep working for them, or what's your plan?
If I was forced basically to work on site, I really like the hybrid model because
Hmm.
I like being in the office. We have perks there. We have a lot of, like you said, a lot of snacks, like chips and
Perks. Yeah.
chocolate and fruit, apples, bananas. We get lunch and stuff. But you also meet with the people. And this is really, really important for relationships. And you don't only talk to your direct team members,
Hmm.
but also talk to people from other departments. So new opportunities kind of develop. You just have this exchange, and that's really, really important. It's a little thing, but it's also good for the business.
Hmm.
But on the other hand, personally, when I'm at the office, I don't get as much done as I do when I'm at home because they're constantly people, and then you want to go out for coffee with them, of course, because you want that interaction.
Social, yeah.
But yeah, the work that kind of gets behind.
Hmm.
And when you're at home, you're just focused. You can just work
You can just like,
through
I'm
and
gonna
get it
dedicate it
done.
right now, and after this, I'm
Mhm.
done, right? But in the
Yeah.
office, probably a lot of the distraction. But some people argue at home they have more distraction than in the office. Well, I guess that's probably because culture difference, right?
Yeah, I think it's also like your living circumstances. I mean, if you have children,
Right,
I assume that would be very distracting if they're at home.
right.
I personally don't have kids. I don't even have a pet, so
Yeah, you can you
really
don't have to run away from the place you live. But for a lot of people, it's a pain in the butt to deal with home remote working at home, and they have like kids crying in the background. You're having the meeting.
yeah.
It's just complicated. But I would say remote working or hybrid is gonna be the future. And if some
Yes.
company is not gonna adapt, there's a higher chance that people just leave. Or even like we have been showing that a lot of people are starting their own business, even though they're working in the company at the same time because they don't want to just rely on one company and work for them forever. Have you ever think about to have your own business?
I did. Yeah, of course. Who hasn't?
So you're still figuring it out, or you already figured it out?
No, I'm still like in the figuring out phase. I mean, I'm still pretty young, I would say. And so I'm just gathering a lot of experience, just try to try new things, get as many connections as you can, really get to know business.
Are you planning to be on the same field that you are currently working on right now? You're currently working as a sales, right? And sales could literally just go to any company, say, I have the skills. It's called people skill, the soft skill. So do you want this or not? And let's talk about the commission, or let's talk about the offer.
Yeah, basically that's true, but I'm actually in tech sales, so maybe that's also a bit different from traditional sales.
True, true.
I sell software, but yeah, I mean the field is huge. Actually, I think it's a really interesting field, sales, because you learn a lot and you get to interact with a lot of different people and you learn a lot.
Right. Have you ever think about, so if you have like €1 million right now, you don't need to worry about the working for the next 6 months to 1 year, even, I don't know, like for a while, what will be the first thing you want to do, or what's your plan to deal with that amount of money?
So it totally depends on the amount of money, to be honest, because if I'm able to invest the amount of money so that I technically not have to work ever again,
Hmm.
then it is a different situation as if it's a lot of money, but eventually I'm going to run out. Even though I invest, it's just not going to scale enough. I
Hmm.
will have to work again. Because in that case, I would definitely, keep working because you got to have the experience. But
Right.
like a lot of companies, they don't hire you anymore if you had like a 2-year break and maybe just did a personal world trip or
Or
something
tour,
like that.
yeah.
Yeah, world tour. It just, they don't want you anymore. So you gotta keep up the experience.
I mean, but if you have €1 million, you basically just start to think about from different dimensions, right? You more or less forget about the work. You start to think about how to leverage. I think that's a huge difference because
Mhm.
a lot of people who work because they don't have the capital to leverage. And one of the reason people are always running around 9 to 5 is because they don't have extra spending or extra saving in order for them to do the things that they really care.
Yeah, I would actually really try to invest it to get passive income because, if you get passive income, it's just a more safer way.
Passive
So
income. So you're gonna learn from Warren Buffett, buy Coca-Cola.
exactly.
Yeah. In my case, I would just probably just invest in some business, building the business that's pretty liquid, and also diversify some investment into some startups or entrepreneurs that I think they has the potentials. That's probably my personal preference because I'm mostly enjoying like new techie and weird stuff or stupid ideas you never heard of it, but it's just fun. If you come from only a really conservative background, that you only think about how to make money, how to survive, then people just run out of passion. But if you reach a lot of the new people, or it's a younger generation, they are full of ideas. Most of them are pretty dumb, but it's still fine. I just really enjoy
Yeah,
that
they
process.
try.
Yeah, they are just like part of the process, right?
So you would actually look for something you're passionate about and like startups that you really support, that where you're behind the idea.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like what I will really do is to support those who are focusing on the content creation because we are doing the podcast. If you are individual or if you're a company, like every company has to produce content. If you are not, you are missing out. And there's still a lot of challenges to be a content creators. Like You have to know how to do the editing, how to write the script, how to make sure, and how the market react. A lot of search engine optimization stuff. It's just too much. And I just hope that there's a silver bullet that makes sure everybody will be, as simple as doing this normally. But we'll see. I don't know whether that's going to happen or not. This is what I believe.
Do you play lotto?
No,
You're trying to get to that 1 million?
no, never actually gamble. Well, I mean, gamble for fun is okay, but gamble for winning money, that's stupid.
Yeah.
That's my 2 cents.
Never gamble with the money you actually need.
Yeah,
Like-
gamble the amount of money that you can afford to lose. That's what they say, right?
Exactly.
Well,
Totally agree.
working is still a huge role in a part of our life. So, and I run away from it. I don't know about you, but personally, I'm still struggling to find internship and to find a company that really thinking about social media or making content is the thing.
I just wanted to say, so the important thing is actually to have the connection. That's what I noticed when I moved to Ireland and I was looking for a job.
Mm-hmm.
It's so important. It's so crucial in the job finding process to have people who are able to refer you,
Yeah.
to introduce you to the managers and stuff. Other than that, it's so hard to get a job nowadays, especially in the tech industry. So if you know someone who knows someone, that's already enough. You just need the referral, then you get the interview, and from then on, you can really show yourself that.
Mhm. I agree. I feel like my strategy is trying to land the interview. So from there on, I have higher chances. But apparently, if you don't have referral, then you are just a number. Then compared to others, is you're just part of the number. Like 1,000 application, there's no referral. You're just like the other 999. But there's one guy who has referral. People inside will probably just pick it up first.
Exactly. Depending on the company, they get so many applications. I mean, they do have to kind of sort out.
Yeah, the HR person. The last episode when I was in Nashville, we talk about this topic. If you are interested, check it out in our second episode. We feel very sorry about the HR people, but I guess it's what it is. They have no choice. Well, right. So, the funny thing is in Bavaria, people actually start drinking beer in the beginning when even that's a working day. They started like in the morning. They have the Weisswurst, which is the white sausage. And they have the Weiss beer, which is the wheat beer. And yeah, they also drink in the break time, in the lunchtime. Probably not a lot, but they keep drinking after the work. But I also heard, there's a phrase in German, say Kein Bier vor vier. It means no beer before 4. So I don't know, Stephanie, tell me, you are professional. Which one is true? Which one is not?
So I do know the saying. I'm not sure if you also know the saying, es ist immer irgendwo 4 Uhr or something like that. So
Mhm.
basically, it's always 4 o'clock somewhere.
Mhm. Yeah. It's always 4 o'clock somewhere. One of my friends told me
Yeah.
that as well.
Exactly. So you can basically always drink.
Yes.
But to be honest, I think the Bavarian working way, I'm not sure, it sounds kind of different to what I'm used to because drinking in the mornings or during lunch is nothing I have encountered in my company so far that I've worked for.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that would be a very interesting approach. You probably need a nap around 2.
Yes,
And
you're not gonna
recover.
be too sleepy to
Yeah.
work. I don't know whether people just made it up because they want to do, more beer sales or some shit, right? So I have friends who say, no, drinking before 4 is too early. You get tired super easy. But some people say, and they are fine. Just like started like normal water.
Yeah. I mean, it's just beer, right?
It's
So
just beer. It's not
doesn't
liquid.
have a lot of percentage. Yeah, exactly. It's not like they drink a bottle of vodka during lunch. But I mean, it's also the cultural background here because in countries like France and I think Italy as well, it's very common to
Drink wine.
have that glass of wine for lunch. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So-
Like they drink wine with the meal. In Bavaria, I
Yeah.
think they drink Weiss beer with the meal. Personally, I don't like that because it kind of tastes like banana beer. They has a really unique flavor. It tastes like banana, but according to
I agree.
local people, they say it's good for digestion. Like,
It's supposed to be quite healthy,
right.
as healthy as beer can be, I guess. But yeah, I agree. I really don't like the taste either.
Well, what is your experiences about the beer culture in between Germany and Ireland? Like you are in Ireland for a while, right? Basically,
Mhm.
it has is it they have different beer, not just different beer, but do they have like different attitude towards the beer, or is it also as crazy as German?
Well, I think it's the same actually. So Germans love beer and the Irish love beer as well.
Irish beer, yeah,
Yeah, they
like
just drink different beer. They drink Guinness.
Guinness,
You've
the
probably
dark
heard
beer,
of it.
yeah,
Yeah, the dark beer, exactly. It's a very unique taste, I would say.
stronger, yeah.
Um, but the Irish, yeah, it's a part of socializing, you know. After work, people go to the pub, have a pint
Hmm.
or another pint, and also on the weekends, you meet in a pub and have a few pints. I
Mhm.
mean, the weather in the winter is pretty bad, or rather bad.
Not as sunny as it's
Especially the
supposed to be,
British.
right?
Yeah, exactly. So what do? You go to a pub because it's warm inside,
Nice.
and then you'll just have a few pints. So that's basically how they do it. But there's a huge difference in prices, which I think is really, really shocking because the beer price or in general, the alcohol price in
Uh-huh.
Ireland is way higher than in Germany because they have an extra alcohol tax here where you
Ah,
pay for every percentage of alcohol,
the fuck?
liquor.
Pay for every percentage?
Yeah,
So if I'm drinking vodka, I have to pay more. Is that what you're saying?
exactly.
What the
So,
hell?
for
Okay.
example, in Germany, if you go out like to a club, you can. There are clubs which sell like a shot for €1,
Yeah.
and
That will make you throw up in the next day though. Those €1 stuff.
yeah, but you can get a decent shot for €2. You
Right.
know,
Yeah.
and in Dublin, it's actually €5 for
What
one.
the hell? Okay.
So going out and if you go out and have this whole drinking culture behind you, if you wanted to go drink with your friends, have a night out, and it's gonna be expensive. You're not only paying with your hangover the next day, you're actually paying with your money. It's really expensive.
So taxation in alcohol in Ireland is counted in percentage of the alcohol.
Mhm.
Personally, I'm not a liquor drinker. I'm more like a beer drinker because you can just kind of control how much you can handle. Liquor is kind of just roller coaster. You drink like 3 shot, 4 shot, 5 shot in like half an hour, and you just you wake up and naked on the bed on the next day for some reason. You can't remember shit. That's like
Did that
a
ever happen to you?
complete blackout, right? I believe like most of the drinkers they have. And I remember the last time I had this blackout was I mixed with tons of shit. Like I mixed with rose wine, mixed with Jägermeister, mixed with beer, mixed with liquor.
My God,
Like on the
that
next
just
day,
sounds like a headache.
on the next day it's like you drink water, you throw out water. Like you cannot drink anything. You just keep throwing up. Like you puke your soul out. That's it.
It's called alcohol poisoning,
Right.
and you should see a doctor when that happens.
Man. But after that, I stick with the beer. Are you a home drinker or you are the pub person? Prefer to drink at home with friends or you prefer to go out with friends, night out?
You know, like when you were younger, you used to go out party a lot,
Yeah, yeah.
like every weekend. And I'm definitely not in that stage anymore. I guess you kind of grow out of it eventually. Um, but I do really like going out to the pub and just, going outside, especially now after COVID. It's really, really great to be outside in the
The
world,
me
to see
person again,
people.
right? Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Be like, okay, this person actually exists outside of the monitor. That's great. It's really cool.
Oh,
So, but I also really like just sitting in, with your friends at home. It can be chill.
for me, I will always prefer to drink at my place for some reason. I feel like I have
Yeah.
the same preferences because going out to a bar and listen to shitty music and tasted those like expensive beer or expensive alcohol, it would be like, why the hell I'm here? Right. But if I could choose, I would definitely prefer to, talk to people who are, generally interested in, intelligence and you have some conversation, you get drunk. probably we are too old for going night out until like 2 or 3 a.m. Like not for me anymore.
But yeah, I agree. Like if you have a really like group of friends you want to invite and just have really nice conversations, and you can do this at home at a very comfortable level, play your music. But there are also a lot of really good clubs, or not clubs, but pubs,
Hmm.
which actually play cool music, which I found out here in Ireland, because I feel like in Germany most pubs don't play that good of the music. I don't know.
Well,
But
you look at the tent in Oktoberfest.
oh god,
Oh well.
yeah, that is not really my style, to be honest.
Yeah, the YMCA is every day, man. I have to tell you. Every time you walk into a tent is YMCA. And like YMCA is like every 30 seconds. Jesus.
You do the dance.
Yeah, and they just like go crazy.
You want to show the viewers?
No, I don't want to do that. You have to go. You have to come here to experience yourself. Like I cannot explain that verbally. But if you ever have chances to go to Oktoberfest, you will know how crazy it's gonna be and how many drunk people you're gonna encounter.
It's definitely worth a visit.
Speaking about the pub, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
As a lady, this could be tricky to ask, but I'm gonna go for it. Some of the audience they don't have the guts to ask. So in the club, right, or in the pub, as a lady, normally you get a lot of pickup, right? The pickup lines from random dude. Do you find any random dudes? They have some pickup lines that make you remember, like say, oh, that was a good one. Have you ever had that before?
But to be honest, most pickup lines are really not that good.
Pretty lame.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
The listeners, you gotta work on your pickup lines.
Yes, please, people. No, I think if someone would just approach you and sounds a bit cheesy, but speaks from his heart, just be himself or herself, be
Right.
authentic. And if you do that, then the person on the other end will notice that. And it's just so much more comfortable, because then you're like, oh yeah, hey, this is a nice human. I can talk to him or her.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to be rude. I don't have to be like, oh yeah, nice pickup line, bye.
Yeah.
And it makes such a difference the way you approach the person. And it doesn't really matter what exactly you say, as long as it's not an insult. I guess we can start with that.
Right. We also discussed this in the first episode of our podcast with Ivan, right? So a lot of the dudes, they were started with like, can I buy you a drink? And then, most of the time the ladies will be like, you, what the fuck? I don't even know you, right? That's weird. Do you think that's a good move, or is a bad move, or is it acceptable? Last time I asked
Yeah.
Ivan, but right now I'm asking the ladies. So tell me your 2 cents.
All right. So what I think about this, on one hand, it's a nice icebreaker, of course, like let's go to the bar, have a conversation there. But on the other hand, a lot of guys think that you can kind of like well, not buy the person, but if
Right.
like, okay,
I get your point.
buy a drink for you, and then I get the permission
To talk to you or to do something with you. Right.
Exactly. And this is not how it works, or shouldn't work. Like that's not how it should work. People should be able to buy their own drinks. People should
Right.
be able to also accept drinks from other people, of course,
Yeah.
without any expectations.
Some people just say, hey, I'm going to buy you a drink and I want to talk to you. And some ladies will be, who the fuck you are? Or some ladies will be, yeah, they take advantage of the guy, but the lady just doesn't give a fuck about this person or not.
Exactly. It's not only the men who think they can just buy themselves in, pay a few drinks and that's it. But it's also some girls, they actually want that.
Yeah.
They appreciate this. And I mean, everyone can do whatever they want.
Right.
Whether they feel free, feel comfortable. But personally, I would not be happy to just, go through the night by getting drinks from strangers and having them lined up for some sort of expectations. It's just it's not good.
I also think the people in Germany, they tend to go Dutch, right? Especially in the first date. Is that true? Or is like something different from what you understand?
For me, it's true.
Good
I
Dutch,
do
okay.
Dutch. I like that, yeah. Especially in the beginning
Uh-huh.
of dating, like when you don't really know the person. But after a while, after you actually know the person, you're like, hey, I like this person, want to meet that person more often.
Hmm.
Then I think you can also just invite the person, and the
Do
person
something
invites you
else.
back. So,
Back and forth.
it's just a giving and taking, but not always going Dutch. But I think there's also this expectation from a lot of girls to get invited to
Hmm.
dinner, like on dates and stuff.
Sometimes it's about the cultural influences. In Asia, you have more status, prove that I can afford everything. So the ladies are thinking that if this man is actually paying for everything, it means that he got some things, right? It's super weird in some way, but that's just how different the culture it is.
Yeah, that's true. It depends on the culture, but I also think it's kind of sexist to think that way. Because yeah, it is about status, but also the lady, the girl
Yeah.
has some sort of status. And why should she just get invited, and why should she try to look for someone who can provide for her? Why can't
Resources.
she just look for someone she can provide for?
Right.
So it's always this very sexist view that the man has to provide, and he has to have enough money and stuff. And that's what a girl is looking for in a man. And that's just outdated.
Apparently, our history is not teaching us enough.
If a woman says, for example, she wants to do household and take care of kids, that's totally fine.
Yeah.
But
She's
should
being
not
forced to,
her.
and that's
Yeah,
different.
exactly. That is the difference. Yeah. They should always have, everyone should always have the freedom to also pursue a career if they want to,
Mhm.
even though they have kids. It shouldn't matter.
But we are also seeing men are starting to take care of kids and be a stay home dad instead of like going to outside and work. And for female, they're starting to like go out work and be more successful than the men sometimes. We're living the world that's like everything is possible. So don't stereotype out of the situation.
Exactly. 100% agree.
Well, I think we are around of the time today. It's the third episode for our podcast, and definitely it's really pleasure to have you with us for just an hour.
It was really fun, Jarvis. Thank you for having me.
Nice. We're
Looking
gonna
forward
keep
to
having you back next time for sure.
Definitely.
Thanks for tuning into the podcast. If you enjoyed the podcast, if you enjoyed the conversation, please leave a like or your 2 cents, share and subscribe to our podcast on YouTube, Spotify. It's also on Apple Podcasts and Google Podcasts. It will help us to build a bigger community for millennials out there who's working and studying abroad. So stay tuned, and I'll see you next time. Have a great one.